There are a few things that I have learned since becoming a mom, so I thought I would share when it comes to helping toddlers eat more, have a healthy relationship with food, reduce your frustration as a mom. I am on a mission to help moms feel more confident, especially new moms, about how they want to raise their kids. So if that is exciting to you, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, share this video with anyone that may benefit. And with all that said, let's jump right in. So here are my top tips for getting your child to eat or helping your picky eater accept food more readily and not making food such a big deal, like in a bad way, in your home. Like, wouldn't that be nice? I have 3 children and my youngest is currently 22 months. So we are entering full-blown toddlerdom, but we're on the younger side, right? So we're still developing language, we're still developing frustration tolerance, and that definitely plays a role when it comes to food. So here are things that I do with her now to hopefully foster a healthy relationship with food for her for the rest of her life. Number 1, stress less. I recently made a video about what I would do or tell myself if I could go back in time to that first time wide-eyed mom, and the number 1 thing is to just stress less, and this applies with food as well. Think about when you're in a situation and someone is pressuring you to do something, you don't want to do it. In fact, you want to do the opposite. Everything is going to be fine. No child is going to voluntarily starve themselves, especially when they're that young. But you do need to kind of crack the code a little bit when it comes to food and meals. Number 2, set up that routine. Just like sleep, and we hear about putting a baby on a routine and a sleep schedule, food is the same way. Actually, you train your body to be hungry at certain times. So what you've got to do as you're starting out is have 0 expectations, but still offer food at a regular schedule, just like how you would normally eat. Personally, for me, especially now that we're on to number 3, I kind of have her eating meals when I do. Unless she comes and asks me for some kind of food, or there's a specific reason why she may need a snack and it's outside of regular meal times, I offer her food when I eat. And this way, it's less to clean up, it's less to think about, because she's eating similar food, if not the same food to me, just her version, and it's so much easier. And then we naturally get on to a routine of some kind of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whatever works for your family. Number 3, never want to override natural instincts. So what I see happening is that a lot of parents get very stressed out because their toddler will take one bite and then say no, they don't want any more. And we feel pressured as parents to make them eat more. We learn over time to kind of force feed ourselves. So we disconnect from that natural instinct of feeling full and feeling hungry. And let me tell you, if we take a look at the current health stats, at least in America, we can see that is a major problem, and it's contributing to the obesity crisis that we have. We made food hyperpalatable, which means that we just eat it and override our natural instincts to stop eating. Babies and toddlers and small children haven't developed that yet. They haven't realized that there's a societal expectation to eat all your food, or you can't leave the dinner table until you finish your plate. How many of us grew up in families like that? Because it's wasteful not to eat everything that's on your plate, but it's really damaging to us as individuals. And one thing that I remember my mom very clearly is that she would never force us to finish our food, and I think that's really important, and I don't think that's the case for everybody. So if you do have a young child, try and resist the urge. Hey, I want to do it too, because I don't want to throw out food and waste it. I want to be able to put the clean plate in the dishwasher. But if you think about it, when are you going to get the amount of food perfectly right for the person eating it, that they feel full enough and completely satiated and they've eaten everything on their plate? My top tip with that for toddlers is to put a tablespoon of the food on their plate, and then if they want more, they will tell you. Do something like that and they'll finish everything, and then you can say, would you like some more? And even a non-verbal child will be able to indicate to you that they want more yogurt or they want more scrambled egg. And again, if you're not stressed and you don't have an expectation of how much they're going to eat, they're not going to sense that you're forcing them to eat. They're going to actually tap into how they really feel. It takes 20 minutes for your food to really register your stomach and your brain, so you don't want to be rushing them and you want it to go slowly. Number 4, you don't want them to eat something, don't have it in your house. I know that's not always realistic for people. As adults, we've been corrupted. We know that Ben & Jerry's exists. We know that there's chocolate out there, and so we want to have a little treat every now and again, and that's totally fine. But if you don't want your child to eat that stuff yet or ever, You cannot eat in front of them or tell them no. It's never gonna work. You're gonna have a major meltdown and they're gonna feel like they're missing out, and it's just a recipe for disaster. You're gonna cave and you're gonna give them food that maybe you didn't want to give them. First of all, that food that you don't want to feed them, unless it's like a high allergen that they're desperate for, you probably shouldn't be eating it either. I hate to break it to you. But if you do want to eat it, either have it out of sight, don't taunt them by having ice cream in front of them and telling them they can't eat it, or eat when they're sleeping, or it's something that you eat out the house, like when you go to a restaurant or something, don't bring it into your house. Just like if you were on some kind of eating plan or diet, you don't want to make your life miserable and make it so much harder by taunting yourself by bringing in all this delicious forbidden food, because then we start to make food into good food and bad food, and we really don't want to be putting labels onto food like that. There's just healthy food and maybe less healthy food, or treat food, or food that we eat in much smaller quantities, because healthy food usually it's kind of hard to overeat. We eat until we're full, we get the right cues to our brain, and we're satisfied. Number 5, perhaps the most important out of all of them, you need to role model the type of behavior that you want your children to grow up with. If you really had to analyze how you eat food now and your relationship to food, there are probably a lot of links that you can make between how you are in your current state and how you grew up. So if you want a child to eat a specific food, you need to be exposing that child to that food, and you need to be eating it yourself. Maybe you're eating it in different iterations. It's avocados sliced, avocados mashed, avocados in a salad, so that your child sees how avocados can appear and you enjoying them, and is more likely to try them if they're not like initially grabbing at them. Number 6, don't take it personally. Especially with my first child, when it came to sleep and eating, I would take it personally that I was doing something wrong if they weren't sleeping or eating according to my expectations. This is not really about you. Number 7, something that I found really, really helpful is allow your toddler to be as independent as possible. We have now forgone a high chair because our little one has older siblings who do not sit in a high chair, and she does not want to sit in one. Occasionally she'll sit in one at a restaurant, but even then, she wants to be with the action. She wants to be a big girl. She wants to be at the table. Yes, it means she has to stand on a little chair or on the chair to eat, but that's okay. I also let her use forks and spoons. Sometimes she uses her little kiddie fork. Sometimes she uses a real fork. Some people might have an issue with that. I don't, and I feel like the sooner I introduce them to grown-up utensils, the better, and she feels like she has independence. She will go and get her bowl herself if she's hungry. She knows where it is, it's at her level. Anything that I can do to feed into her desire to feel autonomous and feel independent, I will do, because it'll make her eating so much better. I try and involve her in every decision. I have her there with me while I'm cooking, and I think that all kind of blends together to make food like not a big deal, but just part of our lives. And then I can't do this, number 8, reducing snacks in between meals. I have been doing a lot of research into snacking for myself, but also this kind of carries over into our kids, and I do really think that we over snack our children. Sounds like we're eating our children. I think we really do offer too many snacks and then expect them to eat dinner. If you want your children to be hungry and ready for dinner at a certain time, don't overload them with snacks an hour before. It really depends on your family, the activity level, what your kids are up to, as to how frequently they need to be fed. But if you want your child to be hungry and ready for a meal, take a look at what snacks they're eating right before, and also the types of things that they're eating. Cucumber and carrots can fill them up, but it's probably different from eating a whole bag of crackers right before a meal. So make sure that you're just taking note of that. And one more side note, bonus tip on that. If you want them to eat vegetables, more vegetables, try and offer them the vegetables at the beginning of the meal. This is something that they do in Europe a lot, because that's when children are the hungriest. They're much more likely to reach for them and try them than if you offer them vegetables at the end after they've already eaten their main course. They're going to be much less likely to try, and do it consistently every single day and see how that changes their relationship with certain types of foods. And the last one, try and eat together as a family. Make it a fun time for connection. Give them all the feels when they're eating. It's so fun to spend time together and food is a great reason to do that. So we've lost, I think, the art of having family meals together a little bit. So make that a habit in your family, make that the tradition, the expectation, so that your kids know to have that connection time over a meal. And that's where you educate on food, and that's where you role model food, and you do all of these tips that I've spoken about around the dinner table. Let me know how it goes. I know it's not easy, but consistency will 100% pay off. Don't have any expectations. Offer healthy, nutritious, delicious foods and see what happens. You don't need to succumb to junk food to get your toddler to eat. They will eat healthy food if that is what is available to them and it's delicious. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and give it a like. Share it with anyone who might find it useful, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.